At best, the alien abduction phenomenon is a terrifying, traumatic experience. At its worst, well, we think they sometimes take people and don't put them back.
I lost my mother and brother to this trauma. He murdered her, then killed himself.
These women are being used as human incubators, with all their children stolen away into the night.
A 6-foot-tall entity of blue-white light paralyzed me, then bent down and said into my ear, "Hi, Steve." It knew my name.
We hear gruesome stories of experiments and dissections. Imagine dying on a metal table while paralyzed, surrounded by alien faces. It's a real horror story. Welcome, everyone, to our show, Abductions 101, UFOs and the Paranormal Connection, on Gnostic TV. We're your hosts, Leslie and Stephen Shaw.
Hello.
And we're the authors of the book, Who They Are and What They're Up To. Tonight, Stephen's going to share an experience he's recently been having.
Yeah, this happened about 10 days ago, and it was quite frightening. It was a very tall entity. I'd say maybe about 8 foot tall. Several people with myself were on the ship, and we were trying to avoid this thing. It was moving very quickly. And eventually it cornered me in one of the rooms. It was a large ship. We were maybe like on deck 1 or 2, whatever, not on the surface. Anyway, so I looked at it and it said, "What do you want? Do you want to infiltrate us?" This entity said in a deep baritone voice, "No, we want to eat you." And it basically engulfed me. And it was actually, I was having actually verbal conversation, and it was, well, the physical sensation too was incredible. And this is just one of 4 that have happened recently.
And then, as I recall, after it ate you, it kind of took your skin over or something, right?
It basically took over me. It became me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right.
Welcome to our world.
Welcome to my world. Yes.
And thank you. In a moment, we'll introduce our wonderful guest for tonight.
Thank you.
Welcome back, everyone. Our wonderful guest for tonight is Sarah Kupersmith. We met Sarah at Contact in the Desert. We were both vendors there, and she was right next to us. And while we were there, she let us know that she had been an abductee for her entire life.
And what we found interesting is that Sarah's been keeping basically journaling about this for about 25 years, right?
Over 25 years, yeah.
Yeah, over 25 years. So we decided, because she's been doing this for so long, we decided we'd better do a 2-part show with Sarah. So we're going to do the early years today. As kind of the plan. And I wanted to, begin at the beginning, so to speak. Like, when did this phenomenon start for you?
Right. So it started about 1987. I was about 3 or 4. And I was greeted by this hooded being named Sissis, who told me his name. And he was accompanied by 2 grays. And it was kind of a quantum leap situation where he would be far away and then he would be up close. And I would just observe him. And I drew pictures of him for this new book that I'm writing called Primitive Star, that'll be out hopefully in the next year or so. What I felt was interesting.
We'll have you back on when you release it. You know?
And he wanted me to laugh, and so he would play with me at night at 3:00 in the morning, and he wanted me to laugh. Mm-hmm. And the first visitation happened. Well, what it's called alien visitation. Some people say abduction. I don't know, but it happened in around 1988. So that's the earliest account that I have.
Yes. Could you spell the name of the being and describe the being?
Absolutely. His name was Sissis, Sissis. He appeared to be a large gnome or a dwarf or a druid. He had like a hooded cloak. And he was accompanied by these 2 grays.
Are these the smaller grays or the taller?
These are the smaller grays. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yeah, and the way that they moved was so quick. They would be there and then they would be right in front of your face.
Mm-hmm.
So when my first
So-
visitation happened in 1988, I noticed that I was under the bed in my mother's room. I was in between two mattresses. So they had two twin beds. My mother and her boyfriend at the time had two twin beds put together with a sheet. And I would leap in my mother's room and I would fall between these two sheets. And sometime at around 4:00 in the morning in 1988, they visited. And there was bright lights shining in her little Laurel Canyon apartment above the parking garage. And they were saying, "What the hell is that?" Expletives. I didn't know. I was just a little girl. And I just knew, oh, Sis is coming to visit. I had no fear at all. And I was sliding between the two mattresses, just looking up. And I was seeing hieroglyphs being projected on the walls, like half moon shapes and lines, and there were hieroglyphs all over the whole room. And then my next memory there is being in front of my mother's patio door and then nothing. So those are the only three things I remember, were the lights, the hieroglyphs, and then being in front of the door.
That is so similar to mine.
Yeah.
Mine happened, my first one when I was 3 in 1963, and it would be an invisible entity that would playfully jump on my stomach.
Kind of play with him, you know.
Make me laugh. But, I saw the gnomes. Yeah, made me laugh. And and it was multiple times. And when I saw the gnomes, also my brother saw the gnomes too. I saw them when I turned about 7 or 8. Actually, the 4 or 5 of them were entering the room, kind of shimmery, and my brother actually was so scared by them. When he turned my same age, he slept in the closet for 2 years because he was afraid of what he called the little men that come at night. But the garden gnome thing is kind of funny because you're about the only other person that has said that they appeared as garden gnomes.
But
or
yours
as a garden
was
gnome.
large.
Mm-hmm.
The hat, it was, you know what? The only thing I could compare it to, honestly, because I was so young when I saw them, was Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Me too.
That pointed hat on the top.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because it kind of stuck out a little bit. It was like that.
They don't want to scare children. They want to appear not as they actually maybe are, 7 or 8 feet tall. The tall grays, and they don't want to scare you. That's not their mission. Is to befriend you. That's what I found. At least.
Yeah, I think so too. Early
when you're young.
Yeah, in the early years, And as the phenomenon progressed, I'm sorry.
It was. Well, I was so excited to tell my mother that they were visiting, and then they visited, and she was terrified.
Yeah.
In 1988.
Sure.
The whole abduction thing kind of scares people.
Well, I was never afraid. I don't have this fear about it,
Because they sort of introduced themselves, to you, right? They go. They had already made friends, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, the visitors for me never actually told me their names, so it's nice that they took the time. Sissis.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's more of a friend gesture. Mine was not quite that friendly, as it turned out. So
yeah, I've wondered in the etymology of that if it's really like Isis. Maybe it's connected to ancient Egypt. I've really
the hieroglyphs.
I have no idea. It just sounds silly. It sounds like Sissis. Okay.
Yeah.
If you had to classify him as an alien type, which would you say, more reptilian or a tall gray?
She said dwarf. I mean, gnome, right?
Yeah. It was a gnome with big eyebrows, with kind of diamond shapes around on the cheeks and on the above the forehead.
Oh, interesting.
With large.
So when you said that you actually had your first abduction was when you were about 4, you're hiding under the bed or something?
Yeah, I was leaping on my mother to tell her that Sis was coming to visit. I was excited, and then they came through the window and
about 4 o'clock in the morning.
And it was in Laurel Canyon in a really ordinary looking apartment. About 4 o'clock in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah, I did several jobs in Laurel Canyon with my dad.
So how did it progress after that?
So it progressed. I didn't think anything of it. I went on with my childhood. I had no fear. And then in 1993 and 1994, my grandmother was in the process of dying, and she was in Sedona by Prescott, Arizona. And I'd spent time in Prescott going to camp at her ceramics studio. She had a ceramic studio in this camp, and I would go there every year, and I would spend time with her in the forest of Sedona and Prescott National Forest. And I had the most unusual thing happen at the Basha's grocery store. I think it's off of 89A in Sedona, right across the street from Chocolatery, if you're familiar with Sedona Chocolatery.
Mm-hmm.
I was
it's been a long time, but
we've been there.
We have been,
it's by Coffee Pot Rock. Yeah. If you
I painted a painting of Coffee Pot.
We know where that is.
Yeah.
So my grandmother, this was about a year after she died, and I went to get flowers. And my mother and a friend of ours went to get flowers to put on her grave. That was, her ashes were spread on Thumb Butte Trail 33 in Prescott. So we were going to Sedona to go up to Prescott to go to her site. As we picked out flowers, I picked out red, white, and blue flowers. So it was maybe July. And then all of a sudden, I was in outer space. I put my hand on the flower and I put the flowers in the cart, and then I was just in outer space. And what I remember was these beings, they were there, but I was really just listening to them speak to me. And they said, "This is imperative. You are a star family. Let's sign a contract. You need to sign a contract, star contract." Something about a star contract. It was very important. And I was a little girl. And so I just went, I'm going to think about that. Not really thinking that it was, the vocabulary was a little bit too much for me, and it seemed very serious. And so I just decided to shy away and say, I'm going to think on that. And
that's actually a lot of self-possessions, I'd like to have my lawyer look at this version.
Yeah, exactly. I can't believe there's actually like that. The attorneys and accountants, and the aliens have attorneys and accountants. You must have been about 10 years old, right? When you're in Sedona, about 10?
About 8 or 9. Mm-hmm. And I just said, I'm going to think on that because this sounds really serious and important. And if it's as important as they say it is, I'm probably going to think on it.
Was this again, or was this a different group of aliens? I mean, or cousins?
They looked like, I drew a picture.
Okay, great.
Oh, great.
It's worth 1,000 words.
These are from all my journals. I have a picture, and they had the diamonds on their eyebrows and on their cheeks. These diamond shapes. Yeah, here.
Very interesting. Okay.
So he kind of looked like an army general a little bit, but he had this flowing cape, and it was like silken flowing.
Right.
Again with the cape.
Yeah. He kind of looks like a wizard a little bit with the cape on.
Yeah, a little elven too. Yeah.
Interesting.
And
we have a friend who's an abductee,
and then I was projected into outer space, and I was just holding on to the freezer door in Basha's, and then all of a sudden, as if time skipped or there was some kind of quantum glitch, it was just like I was in front of the checkout line looking at magazines and seeing like Nirvana on the covers of magazines, and it was 1994.
And yeah, somehow you had a memory block from what happened next, so to speak, right?
No, she remembered it, but she had a time skip, right?
Well,
yeah, I was in outer space.
Somehow her memory blacked out, yeah.
Right. And that's common in these things. I haven't been through hypnosis.
That was one of our questions, if you'd been did any regression work at all.
No regression. I've just written it factually from as I see it, or as I saw it. Yeah. So
when this happened to you, when you were about 9 or 8, were you with anybody at the time, and you basically all of a sudden were in space and had to maybe sign this star contract? How long in your perception did that last?
My perception is bizarre because it looked like it was nighttime in the store, and it looked like the store was empty. And then I looked up and I said, I'll think about it. And I was back in the checkout line. So it might have been some kind of glitch in time or space. I know that there's vortexes in Sedona, and I'd be curious to know if there's a vortex in that grocery store. I don't see why not.
Right, sure. All
They're
right.
able to communicate with us through our astral bodies.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And Stephen has had this a lot, and we were wondering if it was happening to you too, where in the dream state, do you have recurring dreams of them, anything like that?
You just froze up.
Oh, sorry.
There she is.
Yeah. Okay.
My grandmother before she died, she said she could reach me on the astral plane, and that all you need to do is go to the astral plane, and I'll be there with you. And I didn't know what that was, even as a 9-year-old girl. There was no way to look it up at the library. There was no internet, so I didn't realize it until much later when I had my adult contact experiences that I could talk to her, but that I wouldn't be able to remember in my state as a living conscious being on the earthbound. That I could talk to her, that my soul could talk to her, but that I wouldn't be able to remember because there's some kind of barrier between us.
Yeah, it really depends. My sister uses a spirit box, and she does communicate with my mom, my brother, and my dad. And my mom was a channel, and she was a legitimate channel. And I still get contact. I got contacted 2 nights ago by this little about 3-foot being that was talking to me in a slightly Asian voice by the side of my bed, and was just it was there. And I wish I could remember what it was saying, but I kind of started swatting it away. Says, no, I don't want to talk to you right now. I want to get some sleep. Again, it's always like about 2 o'clock in the morning when these things happen. Always about 2 o'clock in the morning.
I have that too. And not with the Asian beings, but the feeling of, I don't want to deal with this right now. I just want to go to bed when they show up.
Go back to sleep, please.
Yeah, I've had 4 in the past 10 days, that different types. They've stepped it up with me for whatever reason.
Yeah, it seems like there's more disruption going on right now. Like they're extra angry about something.
Or concerned, at least concerned. Yeah. So go ahead. Do you have can you recall? I mean, it's not recalling having missing time, but have you had substantial different things, like a recurring dream that is maybe having to do with the gnomes or Sissus, or have you had missing time that you can recall certain times?
More missing time. I mean, you've
more missing time.
Describe some.
Certainly, I've had missing time as a girl in Prescott, Arizona, staying at that camp. And certainly I've had missing time every time I have some kind of contact experience, and there's just a gap. I write about what I see, and then there's just a gap. And I take it as the beauty of the unknown, kind of going there and using it as a muse to write what happens in between, because I couldn't invent it. My imagination probably would make something more interesting than what actually happened, or there must be some reason why I didn't remember. Or
have they ever impregnated you? I don't know how to put it delicately, but have you ever had a bizarre alien pregnancy that happened to you?
I actually did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're one,
and I'm gay, so there would be no way that I could conceive, and that was what was concerning. I had a huge contact experience in 2017. I think the biggest one I've ever had with my son. And when I was pregnant with my son, I had a huge experience as well. So the biggest one happened when he was about 3. He was born in 2013. So 2017, he was about 3, about the same age I was when I started seeing these guys. And when I was pregnant, I had a giant, it looked like a nucleus, like a cell outside my window, and it was bright blue, and it was moving like this, and it was huge. And I felt like it was
mothership size out there.
It was enormous, and I was living in rural Illinois, so Edwardsville, Illinois. So there was nothing around but cornfields, and there was this huge. It was snowing. It was December. I find that my stuff usually happens in the winter, like December, January, or July.
Us too.
Me too.
Yeah, almost always winter.
Yep, July is January is a very
January.
hot one.
Yep.
Yeah, or around Christmas.
And, around Christmas, exactly.
Yeah.
My friend Chris woke up and he said, "There's aliens in the house, and I don't care. I'm going back to sleep." And I said, "Okay." And the power went out, and that was it.
Yep.
That's all I remember.
I know sometimes with Steve, it's like, oh, they're at it again. It's happened so often.
Sometimes there'll be like the three. Well, it's been many times. The three knocks behind my head on the wall.
Yeah.
The bang, bang, bang. Like we're here. Or
they disturb his sleep a lot.
Or sometimes there'll be like literally like a plate of glass that is being shattered in the room, or a door being slammed. That's a little different. That might be a little bit more haunting type stuff. But the alien stuff, for decades we just thought that it was family spirit guide. But I'm curious, what is your family bloodline heritage? By just if I may ask, do you know?
Oh, I was going to ask you if you've heard what sounds like a ringing bell in your ear. That's definitely.
Oh yes, I've had that for many since I was like maybe 10 or 8.
Like a school fire drill bell.
And then there was the bell in the wall. He and his whole family was heard the bells.
Well, this was in January of 1979. We all experienced it. Actually, the whole family experienced the same thing in 2 different locations, 350 miles apart. So that was interesting. The silver bell being rung inside the fireplace wall, inside the 2x4s. Mm-hmm.
I've definitely heard that too. Yeah, like an old fire drill kind of bell.
Like a silver bell going ding, ding. That's what it was. It was the silver bell.
Yeah.
But do you have any like German or Cherokee Indian in your bloodline?
Yeah. So my heritage is Irish, English, and Austrian.
Okay, close enough.
And there's a little bit of Native American, unknown. I think Navajo Apache in there. Mm-hmm. I basically have the blood where I shouldn't drink or do drugs. I don't know. Apparently.
Right. Yeah, the recent stuff from Lisa Elizondo's book called Imminent talks about the Cherokees for sure, and the Scottish. They have different brains. Basically, there's 2 areas of the brain that are more susceptible or have more ability with things like ESP and remote viewing and astral projection and things such as that. And I've got that replete in my bloodline with the Germans and the Scottish and the English and so.
And we've known for years that there was some sort of psychic connection to the phenomenon. And because I kept interviewing abductees, and then but I'm a medium and I'm a psychic healer, or I'm a this or that. It was always somehow psychic, and Steve's family were crazy psychic. And then Luis's new book says that the government actually tested abductees. They did brain scans, MRIs, and PET scans,
and PET scans, yes. Mm-hmm.
And actually determined that they do have the same kind of brains as people that have ESP. So there is definitely, it's been medically proven now that there is a connection.
Mm-hmm. So your brain's wired a little differently than the average person. Yeah.
Well, I know that. I mean, and stick out like a sore thumb everywhere you go.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's not a big surprise at all, really.
I know, yeah. Yeah, we got on like a house on fire on our little corner of the UFO convention. Whitley Strieber's new book is really great. It's called The Fourth Mind. Have you read it?
No, we haven't
Not yet. No.
Yeah, you recommend it?
I really resonate with his experiences and the way that he talks about the quantum shifts. He relates it to Buddhism and Catholicism, and kind of he really paints an interesting picture about what's going on. Yeah.
There's a lot to it. Like the Chinese arts such as like Tai Chi and Qigong, they literally put you more in tune with being able to understand and have these experiences. I mean, it's that's why some of these monks in Tibet can sit outside, all night in just a diaper, basically, in the wintertime, and just use their chi to stay warm.
And they're still smiling.
And they're basically sweating. It's because this is actually an auric field that we have as humans. We just haven't been taught how to use it. It's real, just like telepathy. It's the most common. That's how they communicate with us telepathically. They don't have to learn 10,000 different languages. It's telepathic.
So besides your son, did any other family members also experience the same phenomenon?
That's
everyone that's
in the early years there.
Everyone that's close to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. My partner Tara just had an experience the day before we went to contact, and it was her first. And my son, my dear friend Mary, she has seen them come to the door at my house when we sleep over. Yeah, pretty much everybody close. I was on the phone with a friend, and there was a UFO in the sky, and he was flipping out. And I was like, yeah, well,
Yeah, another one, yeah.
Yeah, when we
ignore him.
when we moved to the lower desert, we had just moved into our place where we're now, like in 2020, right? And we were just out on our back porch at 9:30 at night, and there's this white UFO just hovering right there. We have a very small view of the sky where we are, right in the backyard, and it's just hovering there, bright white, and then it started doing its zigzag stuff, just like saying hi, Steve. We know where you moved to, and then it buzzed off.
Away again. Yeah.
It's just they follow me. I did have a tracking device in me. I don't know if I still do, but I had a tracking device that got accidentally found in 2013 when I almost lost my right arm in an accident.
Yeah, but
it was found.
The surgeon must have sucked it out with a vacuum or something, because it wasn't there after the surgery.
We have digital copies of the X-rays, so I'm just going to get it blown up. Yeah. Right.
It looks like a little grain of rice, but it's metal because it shows up white on the X-ray. And
this was implanted to me, I believe, when I was 18 in January again, when we're having all these things happening. Because, we'll talk about that later. This is your show.
And then, like with Lee Strieber, we got to meet him at Contact. That was really cool. He came up to the booth, and his assistant actually bought 3 of our shirts for him to send to his family members. So we were really, really honored. But
he's so sweet.
He is a really nice guy, isn't he?
He's a little shy.
So nice.
But
I've done a meditation with him in Malibu one time. It was incredible. Yeah. Cool. He did a Kundalini meditation with us, and it was amazing. Yeah, I ended up having an experience with his wife, Anne, who had passed, and I saw a Buddha above the television move. And somebody told me afterwards that the Buddha was a gift from Anne, and then, but I was like, I felt so connected to everybody there. It was so cool.
Beautiful.
Anyway, one of the things he talked about when he got his implant, they put his implant in his ear, and the alien tapped his ear 3 times, and right on where the device was, and Stephen had an alien tap his shoulder 3 times right where the device was too. Yeah. So we're wondering if anything happened to you like that. Did you ever get an implant? Yes. Or tell us about the implant setup then.
During my biggest experience in 2017, I believe that there was an implant either in my right or left hip, or just above my eye on my left eyebrow. I don't know.
That's where Paul, our friend Jean has it,
And I'm wondering if in women it's in the hip, because I felt that they were checking out something that was in my hip. They were doing an X-ray of my hip on I don't know what to call it, the ship. It was really boring.
It's a good way. It's a good place to hide it.
Yeah, a friend of ours had it on the inside of her leg, and that one got removed by the doctor. And it was one of those, like a little square with like spidery legs coming off of it.
I'd be fascinated to know. I've never done a scan or anything on my body, but I have been able to see gold hieroglyph letters above my left, just right above my left eye in certain times in my life. And it's unexplained, and I just kind of shrug it off, and then I go make a cup of coffee. But
that seems to be repeating. That seems to be a repeating motif, the hieroglyphic or cuneiform, as far as the language.
And Jean's the one that's under her left eye, it's above her left eyebrow. There's a little scar there, like in the form of an inverted V. And when she feels the portal in her house like open when she's about to get a visitation, she can kind of feel it happening. And sometimes this area over her forehead will swell up and throb and turn red. And I was wondering if you were telling us about this Maine experience in 2017. Let's back up and start that experience from the beginning, shall we?
Yeah. With me, it's more twinkling light, like it's golden light. But in 2017, I was living in the Valley. I just moved into a new house, and it was down the street from this orange grove, and it was very Valley. It's like very San Fernando Valley. It was very suburban. And let's see. I looked at the closet door. I was about to go to sleep. I was looking at vases on Etsy on my phone. And because I'm a potter, I was looking at vases. And I looked at the door, and I noticed that my purse had moved from one side of the closet to another door on the closet. There's 2 closets on this wall. And then I was blacked out. And then I woke up again, and it was dark. And there was some kind of time shift where it was dark. And the right closet opened up, and there was a really tall being with a cloak, and they were glowing. And then there was 2 other beings, and it just seemed like my closet was full of these guys, these aliens. And they moved closer, and then I blacked out again, out. I don't remember what happened. And then I woke up, and I was looking at my floor to the left of my pillow, to the right of my pillow. A lot of these things happen when my head is on a pillow, and I wake up and I look out because I'm conscious, I'm awake. So I look out, and I see that the floor is disappeared. There's a circle, and I could see down to my kitchen. It was a 2-story house. I could see down to my kitchen from where I was sleeping, and I peered down, and then it looked like a grid of blue light that was somehow living, and it was moving, and it kind of looked like a Halloween decoration that people put up of laser lines, just crossing laser lines. And I saw something come up out of it, and then I blacked out again. And then I asked, where's my son? And then all of a sudden I had another moment where I blacked out, and I woke up, and I was on the couch downstairs. It was totally dark, and there was a glowing being, and he was next to my couch by the bookcase, and he said, "I'm the doctor, don't be afraid. It's okay, don't be afraid." And internally, I had this internal monologue through this thing of, wow, their eyes are really rounder than I thought. On TV, they look like almonds, but they're kind of cute. And I wondered if, I don't know, maybe they made themselves cuter so I'd be comfortable. Their eyes were really round. And
was this doctor, was he bluish white also too, this being? The doctor, was he bluish white or just blue?
Yeah. Yeah, he was just kind of glowing white. And my son was there with me on the couch. And he said, "I'm the doctor." And then I black out again, and I'm on the ship outside. I look up. Well, before that, I go to the screen door, and I look up, and there's what looks like red and black lines on the ship, and they're moving like this. And it looks like neon light. When I see a UFO, I always think of it as neon or living, or there's some kind of, it's not like a light bulb you could see on Earth. It's brighter or somehow
more
different.
organic,
So
right?
I go in the ship, and I'm on, and surrounding me are black, boring looking walls. And there's a being in front of me on a computer monitor. And he's kind of scanning around. Of my pelvis, and I'm noticing that, wow, this is so routine. He just looks bored. Like he's just like, oh, another day, And I remember thinking that in my internal monologue, like, this being looks bored. He's just looking at my leg. Like, okay, that was what I was thinking. And I turn. They get me up, and I turn, and then there's a hallway, and there's like benches on this silver-looking hallway, and it's kind of musty in there. It's like dirty. And the next thing I remember, I did another blackout. And the next thing I remember, I was holding on to Chris, my friend who I was living with. I was holding on to his back. And I had what I had on it that night, which was just underwear and a necklace. And I was hanging onto his back as we were being lowered from like 50 feet above the house into my bed. And that's what I remember. And I remember waking up and looking like I had a sunburn on my neck. And like my whole neck was swollen. And then I decided that I should write it down in my journal, even though internally I had this voice in me that said, it's no big deal. Just calm down. Don't write it out. It's fine. Like it was an odd feeling to dismiss such an extraordinary thing. And I made a cup of coffee and I wrote it down. And then I decided that I would take a pregnancy test 2 days after. And it was positive.
Wow.
And that was when I knew, that was unusual. And then it was negative a day later. So, yeah.
When the doctor was saying, "Just relax, this is just it's no big deal," had they ever actually verbally communicated with you, or was it always telepathic?
It was telepathic. It was a plain male sounding monotonous voice. And my son, after I had the positive pregnancy test about 2 days later, my son saw somebody with an alien t-shirt at Target. And he said, "Dark guy, doctor. Dark guy, doctor. That's the doctor."
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what are you going to do? I'm just going to write it down in my journal, I guess.
And then the pregnancy, do you think it terminated on its own like a miscarriage? Or they usually...
That'd be pretty early.
They usually come back for the fetus a few months later.
About 4 months, yeah.
But there are some problems sometimes people have with the pregnancies. Like Karen Wilkinson was saying, whenever she was pregnant with an alien hybrid, the pregnancy was much more difficult. She was much more sick. So I was wondering, since it was over, it was just a few days, you say?
It was just a few days. I think that they did something in 2019 that was related to DNA. I have pictures I could show you. But they came back to collect DNA. And they told me that in my room. They said, "We are here to collect DNA. Very important, very important." And they gave me what looks like a black box that I could communicate with them. You mentioned in number 3, and I think it's odd. Like when I was a child, Sis told me, "I'll come back anytime you need. You could call my name 3 times and I'll be there for you." And I was always too scared to do it. And I've never actually done it. But I think it would be interesting to try. And to actually
like that Biggie Smalls thing,
No, not quite like that.
Well, yeah, maybe meditate on this black box. What was this box that they were giving me?
Yeah.
It had hieroglyphic symbols on it. So they might have collected something at that point in 2019 after that 2017 experience.
I'm sure they probably have a lot of DNA on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
So we need to take a few minute break.
We have to take a quick break here. Yeah.
We'll be back in just a moment with more with our wonderful guest.
Leslie, you're kidding me.
What?
Our merchandise store is up?
Of course, my darling. All of our amazing concepts of shirts, mugs, and bumper stickers are ready to go.
No way.
Way.
Even my brilliant Egyptian concept that no one else ever thought of before?
Yes, that one too, and lots more. All at our new store at etsy.com/shop/abductions101.
Wow. I want a shirt and a mug and...
Well, Stephen, and all our curious listeners, just go to etsy.com/shop/abductions101 to see all of our unique designs.
I'm going there.
And we're back with our guest, Sarah Kupersmith, a lifetime abductee, just like Stephen and his family. I had a question before the break, and now it's gone out of my head. Do you have one handy?
Yeah, you're talking about your child that you have, and that you're also you're gay.
Yeah.
Just that was just something that happened earlier in your life, or do you want to talk
Yeah,
about that?
I decided to raise a child with my dear friend, and we got married, we got health insurance, and we were really a good team. And so he raised our child, and until about he was 8, and then I went to live with my partner, who I'm with now, at our home in Pasadena, just this year. So it was a process, of getting pregnant and really wanting to be a mom my whole life, but figuring out how I could do it in the way that I am with who I am. Yeah.
And this pregnancy didn't have anything to do with our alien friends, our alien cousins this time, right?
What if it did? They visited in 2012 when I just really wanted a child in 2012. And that big ball outside of my window.
That was the 2012 incident?
Yeah, I had 2 miscarriages after that.
And, that big undulating ball, that blue ball, it almost sounded like a living placenta, almost like that was moving in a way, the way you described it.
When they told me in 2019 about DNA, what I interpret that maybe this is a little out there, but maybe it was like a nucleus of a cell.
Right.
Showing me a nucleus.
That's the feeling that I got when you described it. That's what I saw in my mind. Yeah.
Stephen's family would see them sometimes through a veil of shimmeriness. And frequently that shimmeriness, I think, is memory tampering, showing signs of memory tampering. Because we don't think there really are gnomes like the boys were seeing. We think they were aliens, but they perceived them as gnomes. But they had a shimmery quality to the memory. Do you have any experience like that?
Yeah, to me it looks like lasers, crisscrossing lasers. That there's some kind of static barrier between our energies, maybe protecting me from them.
Right.
You said twinkling, kind of, right?
Yeah, it's like static. Looks like a static.
Yes, static. Yes.
Do
you ever have like clairaudience where like you will, or like for instance, you'll think for sure somebody's talking to you, but they're not, like during the daytime, or like
hearing voices.
Hearing voices, basically.
Very rarely. I like to keep on my coffee and keep going. I don't like to focus too much on it. But if
I'm sorry, dear, we lost you for a second. Could you repeat that answer?
Oh, I like to stay, with my coffee and keep focused on what I'm doing. But if I were to open up my mind on a daily basis, I think I could do some extraordinary things with clairaudience.
Yes, we found when we were doing Kundalini raising techniques, it sort of stimulated this phenomenon with Steve. He had a lot more experiences in the astral realm, and we started hearing into the astral realm, like hearing voices, and I found that kind of disturbing, so I eventually gave it up. But I was enjoying the astral travel. For me, it was fun. But because Stephen is an abductee, for him it was always kind of scary. And it
was mostly scary. It wasn't always, but mostly, yeah. I've been.
Oh, sorry.
What'd you say?
I'd be curious to know why these beings have so much fear in their energy sometimes. I'd be curious about that. I had also felt pauses in my astral meditations, probably because they were similar or close to me when I got to that state. But I've noticed they can have this fear, and sometimes I don't get through that in the middle of the night. I'll just feel this fear, and I'll know that they're close. And
we think that the thing that they most want every time when they manage to get their message across to us, it's usually take better care of the planet and stop using your nukes. We think they're very afraid of our nuclear arsenal. And in our theory, it's because we think that they're not coming here from distant star systems. We think they're actually a hidden terrestrial source for these beings.
Both the Greys and the Nordics.
So we think they share the planet with us, but are underground. We call them intraterrestrials instead of extraterrestrials. And so we think that they're particularly afraid of our nukes because, if we blow up the world, if we're sharing the planet with them, we'll kill them too. So I think that's one of the big things that they do actively fear.
Yeah.
And also the cow mutilations. That's also another unexplained thing. They're the people, the ranchers say that a lot of them will say, "Oh, they're satanic worshippers that are doing it, whatever." But it's happening all over the country, right? And there's never any tracks. These cattle, some of these cattle look like they've been dropped from 20 feet high, and their backs are broken. They always take the eye and the tongue and the sex organs, and it's like if you actually had interterrestrial race that was living here and they had cattle, they would probably be interested in see, the other part of our theory is that since World War II, when a lot of this stuff started getting magnified and amplified, is that we've done 2,000 nuclear detonations, and I think they probably are, like their herd of cattle have become probably maybe non-viable or less viable, so they're basically needing surface DNA to replenish their
herds.
Their herds, yeah. So
we think. I studied in college. I studied the Great Flood, and at the time I read a book. There were about 500 separate flood myths in separate cultures all around the world, and since then only more have been discovered. There's almost like 1,200 of them now, and we think that. I surmise that the flood really did happen. And I've been looking for a cause of it for many, many decades. And recently, the Hiawatha asteroid impact crater in Greenland got us all excited. We thought that was maybe the cause. But since then, that one has been dated to 45 million years ago. And the Younger Dryas comet impact of 12,850 years ago is now the candidate for the cause of the Great Flood. It would have been a worldwide event, where everyone in the world would experience a problem with the weather, and a flood. So we think that mankind was more advanced technically back then, prior to the impact.
And psychically too.
And yes, both they didn't lose their culture or their technology. We think they retreated underground to escape the cataclysm. And we think that's who's launching the UFOs in our skies. Because they didn't lose their technology, they're 12,850 years ahead of us, which seems like about right to me. They're not a million years ahead of us, right? It seems like they're about 10,000 years would be about right.
And you mentioned that you're part Irish, right?
Yeah, I have
the
two
Tuatha De Danann,
The
grandparents who are Irish. And I'm wondering the magical connection between druids and fairies and things I wouldn't know about.
That's in our book too, yeah.
Yes, these are races that are supposed to have retreated underground, and just like the Tuatha De Danann and a lot of other cultures.
Of Ireland, yes.
And I would propose, why? Why would anyone retreat underground? What's nice about going? The sky is nice. Blue skies are nice, right? But one good reason to retreat underground would be a celestial impact event that everyone has seen coming.
Yes.
And that's one of the things, too, about these flood myths. All of them start the same way almost, that the world was warned. The people were warned by God that a horrible flood was coming. So we think they had the technology, at least enough astronomy technology, where they could have seen this comet coming and knew it was going to hit. And warned the people of the world. Sorry, what?
Stone. Well, I'm just adding to what you're saying, but the Epic of Gilgamesh was written on stone, cuneiform.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So much in stone in ancient Egyptian culture that had to last for a long, long time for people above
Right.
ground. Maybe they did those monuments because
Yes, the Gilgamesh, I believe, is Babylonian or Sumerian, right, Stephen? Isn't
It's
that?
Babylonian.
I forget which
It was
which stone
Babylonian.
it was is in. Yeah, we found a lot of in our research. We found a lot of biblical stories have an earlier version in ancient Sumerian tablets that actually makes more sense.
fascinating. It is. Yeah, that's an interesting one. You're right.
And
Yeah,
so
the story of Noah and Gilgamesh.
and the Tower of Babel, or Babel, I guess is the right pronunciation. Sorry, the Tower of Babel, and the expulsion of Adam and Eve from the Garden of Eden. In Mesopotamia, there was a region called Eden, which but they spelled it Edin. So we think that actually that's where the story originated, was from this area.
Right.
Yeah.
We should we're coming up on the hour. We should probably take one more break, right?
Okay. Yes. All right.
Okay,
We'll be
sorry.
back in a few minutes, everyone. Hi, I'm Leslie Shaw, and I'm here to tell you about the incident that happened. My husband and I got married on my birthday, so we were celebrating both my birthday and our anniversary camping at Whitewater Campground. And the bank called me and said, "Are you spending all your money in a Texas Walmart right now?" And it's like, "Oh, no, we are not." And they had drained everything out of our account but 86 cents. That's all we had. And at the time, that was our only bank account. And so we were kind of stuck. And fortunately, the bank was great. And they said that they would refund it, our money, between 5 and 9 business days later. So I was trying to figure out what to feed us for that time period. So I remember opening the pantry going, what am I going to make? And then I'm a stained glass artist, and I had several pieces in a gallery at the time, and one of them sold, and we just got lucky. And I remember it was almost $300, and we were able to go grocery shopping with it, and at least feed us for the week it took. And the bank was great. It only took the 5 days, and we didn't have to wait the whole 9. But I would rather it didn't have to happen at all. And we're back with our wonderful guest, Sarah Kupersmith. Stephen, did you have any more questions for tonight?
Yeah, just have any recent things been happening? You mentioned, like, just before contact in the desert, one of your friends had an experience.
Yeah. Tara, my partner, had an experience with the Greys in a dream that she had. And I could leave her to tell you, but basically they were around the bed, and there was a screen kind of on the right side, and it was static with what looked like letters on it. And she heard telepathically, they said, "Okay, guys." And then she screamed my name and woke up. And that's basically what happened. That was the day before we left.
Did it scare the daylights out of her?
It did. And I really had to comfort her. And I almost felt guilty, like it was my fault, because people close to me.
It's kind of like I see, because, like, for myself, Leslie's only seen 2 UFOs, but they've always been with me, and I've seen at least 5. So you're kind of an attractor, that when they'll come and interact with other people because of you.
Yeah, they better not start taking me because of you, Mr. Not just kidding.
Well, yeah, this is the first time I'm publicly speaking. I've only written for 25 years, over 25 years. And this is really the first time I'm publicly speaking. So it's been so interesting to meet someone like you, and also an acupuncture practitioner, I heard. Energetically, it must be so fascinating.
And a Tai Chi teacher, too, for 23 years. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so interesting to talk to people like you who are opening up the field and letting people like me talk, and so people can share their stories that are similar with mine, and I don't feel so alone.
We're honored that you told your story here first. We appreciate it.
Do you feel like you have like an inner guide? I felt like I have different inner guides or inner teachers. Do you feel like you have like a different, like, if you listen to that little voice that at the right time, that there's always that voice there, or that signal in your ear that is telling you to, or helping to advise you where you should go. Do you have that feeling ever?
Absolutely. Yeah. And as an artist, I feel like it's stronger as a potter with my work at Earthfield Ceramics. My intuition to create and to draw muses and to draw from the unknown is just a daily occurrence as an artist. So I do feel close to my grandmother, who was a potter, and I feel like this being Sis has guided me, and maybe through her, in a way that guides me on a daily basis. Yeah.
You know, our friend Jean, her alien handler is called Sumi, and she's painted many pictures of her. Sumi looks like a tall gray, but when she's abducted with the little grays there too, and that's one of our things too. We think we see a lot of these different alien types working together, so that we don't think they're coming here from distant star systems like the Greys are from over here and the Nordics are from here. We think it's all a connected phenomenon because the Greys sometimes work with the Nordics or the reptilians, or the reptilians are working with the little Greys, or it seems like they're all working together. At least our experience.
I've seen the Palladians. I think that might be who's connected to Sis with the diamond shapes and the diamond in the forehead. But
is Sis, would you say Sis was your family's handler, long-term handler, so to speak?
I wonder if he was connected to my grandmother, if my grandmother was a magical being, if I was connected to fairies through our Irish lineage. I've certainly met people, and my friends included, on this plane that we're just different. We're just different on this earth, and I wonder if there's some kind of magical connection there.
We think a lot of these phenomena are connected to the abduction phenomenon. Like, for instance, vampires. We think they're or fairies or incubi or succubi. We think these are actually alien abduction experiences because they steal people, they steal genetic material.
Yeah, they take the blood, they overpower you.
They're powerful, they can paralyze you.
They can change form.
They come back to the same person again and again and again, frequently. And and then with the succubus situation, when they get pregnant, but then give birth to nothing but air. A woman in like 1600s.
Well, the incubus gets the woman pregnant, right?
Yeah, she gets pregnant. She reports that she was raped by a demon, gets pregnant, and then there's like a report from the 1600s, I believe. She got pregnant, and she said the pregnancy stalled, and she gave birth to nothing but air. And I think we're looking at the not only is this a currently occurring phenomenon, I think it's been occurring for hundreds of years, if not thousands of years.
Yeah, just different names for the same thing.
Yeah, just ancient timelines crossing through quantum space.
Right, and also too, like say the vampires. Yeah, what do? They take the blood. They take the DNA. It's the same thing. They come in the night.
From the net.
They're very powerful. They hypnotize you.
They
change your memories, and they visit you time and time again. So it's like the same thing that's happening, just a different name for it.
Yeah. We think anyway.
That's what we found, at least.
Yeah. So do you have anything you would like to plug for yourself, like a book? Well, I know your book is coming out next year, but something else? Yeah. Anything else we've got going on right now?
Your business?
Oh, yeah. Well, I come to Contact in the Desert to sell pottery because I love to sell pottery and I love to make pottery. So I have a studio here. It's called Earthfield Ceramics and Kupersmith Ceramics. You can follow me on Instagram at Kupersmith Ceramics and Earthfield Studio. I also am writing this book called Primitive Star. And this is just a rough draft that I'm writing because I don't have a computer with a pen. And so that's coming together. And yeah, that's what I like.
So it's Earthfield Studio and Kupersmith Ceramics. Is that correct?
Yeah, so Supersmith Ceramics, Supersmith Ceramics on Instagram. And then I also have Earthfield Studio with my friend Mary, and that's why we were selling pots from Earthfield at the convention.
That was your booth at the Contact, right?
That was my booth, and it's Earthfield _ studio on Instagram.
Good. We want to make sure we plug that for you.
We do commissions if you have a cafe, if you have promotion mugs you want to make, if you're an abductee and you speak at these conferences and you need mugs, just let me know and I'll make them. It's my joy.
By the way, to our audience, real quick, that we saw your productions, and people universally, when they really saw your stuff, they really appreciated it. They really thought it was really quite good.
Yes.
So I heard that all throughout Contact in the Desert.
Yeah, we heard it again and again from the people at the booth.
Well worth the price.
Yeah, we dig the clay. We make the glazes with ash, with local materials. The footprint is almost nothing. And I would love the money to contribute to a trip to England so I could see crop circles, selfishly. So
I'd like to see them too. Me too.
Yes.
Consider purchasing a mug or many. And I'm working on this book, Primitive Star. And yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to have you back for a part 2.
That's right.
So that we can delve further into your journals. And between now and then, kind of maybe peruse your journals and pick out some highlight reels for us. All right.
Oh, yeah. I can do some cold reads for you.
Okay. Very good. That would be nice. That would be nice.
All right, everyone. So I'd like to thank our guest, Sarah Kupersmith, for joining us tonight. And
thank you, Sarah.
And we'll be signing off. Good night, everyone.
Awesome. Good night.